You know that story that, to succeed, you have to walk on the shoulders of giants, and you are as tall as those on whose shoulders you stood. Well, our students are standing on people with very tall metaphorical shoulders. And you all know that Carleton Journalism School is the best in Canada. Now, the Dean of Arts would say, Roseanne, you can't say that. And it's just maybe because journalism is in arts, but every time I try and say that, the former dean, not the current dean, would say to me, you have to temper it. You have to say arguably the best. Well, nobody's going to argue with me on this. It's true. and why should I say arguably the best? Why does arguably make it any safer to say that it's the best or not? It is probably the best. In my opinion, it's the best. It's got the strongest reputation. Everybody told me when I came to Carleton that it was the best. So I believed them, and here I am. So it's got to be the best. But, thinking about it, the fact that our first graduates were women is probably why it is so good and why it is the best. And no other school can say that. And isn't it extraordinary, the way that journalism has succeeded in Canada compared to a number of other countries, and the role that Canadian journalists have played around the world, especially women, and especially our graduates. To me, there is no need to prove that we're the best, because you're the best. And I thank you very, very much for that. I also know that some of you strayed from the fold. You didn't become journalists. And that's okay. Because at one point in my life, I thought I'd be a journalist too. I got really excited when I was a college student. I was the editor of the student newspaper. And so this is a story that you must never repeat. You promise? Okay. So the library decided it was going to close on Saturdays and Sundays because not enough students used it and it was not cost efficient. But I liked to use the library all day Saturday and Sunday. I was, the real study bug. And I realized that if I said to students, let's protest and let's write letters to the administration, that my letter would be the only letter that they would get. Probably, maybe 2 or 3 others. So what could I do? And I thought, well, it's useless. What I will do is I will write a satirical editorial in the college paper and make people realize by reading it, because it'd be sort of like Voltaire, I was studying Voltaire at the time, that this would be really good. So I wrote that when the university administration was abdicating its responsibilities, it behooved the students to take them on themselves. And every student had the right to check out 10 books. And since the university wasn't going to be open on the weekends, the newspaper office would be. So everybody should go to the library, check out their 10 books, and we would take care to distribute them on the weekends. I thought it was very funny, except that the next morning, the hall was filled with books. You wouldn't believe how many books were stacked down the corridors, all the way to the office of the student newspaper. And I received a letter from the university president, and he said, Roseanne, the pen is indeed mighty. It's the most powerful instrument that we have. You can change the world, but remember, you can and must do good with it. Use it wisely. And then it said, P.S., the library will be open on the weekend if you get all the books back. So we had a big work crew bringing all the books back to the library, and it was then open on the weekends. But it's the power of the pen that all of you hold, and the power to do good. And it is the power of our education and the power and responsibility that we all have to try and make this world a better place. We all talk about education, and it's really popular now for people to say the cost of education. The They're saying it because the cost to individuals has increased, and they're seeing it as a personal investment, and they want a return, which is a good job. But education is really much more than that. It is a national project. It is education for the good of this country. If we built railroads, it brought the country together. If we work and make education accessible for everyone across this country, then we will leave a legacy that is extraordinary. And we will be able to meet the challenges of bringing in refugees, of solving some of the problems of the world. So thank you for being leaders, and not just plain leaders, not even good leaders, the best. Thank you.